Om Gati Gati Aragati Arasam Gati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Aragati Arasam Gati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Aragati Arasam Gati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Aragati Arasam Gati Bodhisvatyata. Okay, while others come in, I'm just wondering if there's any question. One or two questions? One or two questions? Yes. If possible, through the mic.
Possible without, I will speak loud.
Okay.
At the end of the discussion group, and this is something that bothered me a long time, I talked with one of the members of the discussion group, and we've spoken about what the tree outside. If none of us sees it or have the concept of the tree, will the atoms be there?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. If nobody's there,
No, but no.
everybody leaves.
Yeah,
Only the trees left.
no animals, nothing.
No animals,
one's
nothing, no insects, nothing. Right? No Buddhas, nothing. Okay. So then the trees, one is there the tree, then are there the atoms. So we look at the bunch of atoms and we see the tree, so that is perception, that's fine. So perceptions are gone. So atoms are left or not? Even the atoms are also perception. Right? If the atoms also perception, yes. Atoms, they're nothing but electrons, protons, neutrons.
Yes.
Atoms also perception. Even the electron is also perception. We see that nothing is really there which is not perception. So perception is purely subjective. So the question is, if in the forest, in the middle of the forest, rain in the Amazon forest, it rains and the rain drops, fall all the places, and then nobody's there in the forest, the drops, will they hit the leaves, any of the leaf? And the leaf will fall or not fall? These are all the questions. Okay, so there, let us not take these questions lightly. These questions are very important. Meanwhile, what is important is first try to get the conviction that the water is just a bunch of atoms. And then we say it's water, that's it. If you're convinced with this, then you can talk about what is really there, water molecules. Even the water molecules are just perception, they're just atoms. Atoms also perception, just the electrons, protons, they are not atoms. We keep going like this, we see that there's nothing there which you can point to say that this is not the mere perception. So this is very important. Let us not forget this. Then the next question is, then the other questions. For example, let's say that the perception, for example, okay, a drop hits the leaf and the leaf falls. If nobody's there, does it happen or not happen? This answer. It happens. It happens. It happens. So when then, whose perception? We said it's just perception. Whose perception? So the perception can come later. Perception can come before. Perception can come before the object. Perception can come after the object. Perception can be simultaneous with the object. If you say, my past life, perception comes after the object. You are conceiving of your past life. My future life, the perception happens before the object. And today's life, today, perception is simultaneous. So, perceiving mind, imputing mind, can be before the object, can be after the object, can be simultaneous with the object. It's not necessary that, so when I say that, okay, all the atoms of Amazon, the forest, when I think like that, all the atoms are created by my mind. A perception of all the atoms come from my mind. Right? So therefore, it is not necessary that you should be there in the forest itself. Even the thought process, in your thought, you're far away from your past life. Your past life is no more, it's not with us now. But you can have the perception of the past life. That is what projects the past life. It's not necessary that past life and the projector what projects, these two should be simultaneous. It can be before the object, after the object, simultaneous with the object. This is what we need to keep in mind. So, meanwhile, what is so important, these debates are there, very interesting debates are there. What is so important for our own benefit to gain conviction is that these debates, don't forget them. These debates you must keep in mind, these debates. Meanwhile, you must also focus on, we must also focus on, okay, what's really there is just a bunch of atoms. You're getting it, just start there. Begin from this, like a bunch of atoms. And then our mind sees this as water. So if you go closer to this object, it's just a bunch of atoms. None of the atom is the water. This conviction must be there with us. And then I see you as a girl. Right? So there, if you really go there, what we see is just a bunch of atoms there. And none of the atom there which constitute this girl is the girl. And this is reality. And yet from distance we see as a girl. Right? This is how things exist. This we must gain conviction. Only if we gain conviction that it's just a perception. Beyond the perception, there's nothing, it's just a bunch of atoms. Even the atoms are also perception. Beyond the perception of the atoms, there's nothing, there's atoms. So this is how we keep going, and gradually we will get a feeling. Still, we even though you are convinced with this, yes, water is just a perception. Beyond this, just atoms. That's it. Even though you get this feeling, still you have a feeling that there's something there, atoms. You're getting it? So this will take a little time because we are so addicted. We are so addicted to believing in things existing objectively from the object. We are so addicted since when? Since beginningless time. It's not about it's not just about, it's a matter of, say, it's not the genes that we inherited from the parents. The parents, they see things objectively real, so we also are made to see things. No. See, the genes are inherited from the parents, but the software is coming from the past life. Hardware is coming from the parents. The genes, the genetic disorder, right? If there's a genetic disorder, we are very unfortunate. Our thinking can be impaired because of this genetic disorder, the brain disorder, right? Which we inherit from the parents. So with this, we see that our thinking can be affected. So for example, let's say the thinking and the hardware is the brain and the genes. So this is what we inherit from the parents, and the thinking, where the perception is taking place. These are all happening on the mind, mental. This is, your parents do not pass that on to you. You getting it? For example, somebody like Mozart. The Britishers, they say Mozart. Huh?
Mozart.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that these genius, the prodigies, I'm sure that you go back till like 15 billion years ago, till Big Bang point, the point of Big Bang, the Mozart, his ancestors, if you track, we can say pretty much we can say that ancestor, there was no one who was as brilliant as he. And suddenly this brilliant, the person came. Like Einstein. If you track, very likely not somebody as brilliant as Einstein was in his line of the genetic, the hereditary. Very unlikely. Very unlikely. So the point is that, so this came from where? This came from where? So the mind, that is the mind. That is the software. Hardware is the genes and the neurons and the brain. So that came from parents. And so you use these genes and the hardware, the brain's neurons and so forth, and then the mind activates accordingly. When the hardware is damaged, then the mind can also be damaged. How? Say, when the one part of the brain is damaged, you will lose your language. Your thinking is very fresh. Your thinking is just the same. Compassion, the same, the little agitation, no agitation, calmness, whatever, remains the same, but you will lose the language. So the ability, the mind to see the language, working with the language, disappears. Software is dependent on the hardware. But the software can, so this software is very special. The mind can affect the brain. The mind can affect the brain. If the mind is very powerful, it can affect the brain. Nowadays, this is what is being found, right? It's not only the brain affecting the mind, it's even the mind affecting the brain. So these are the very important points. So from this, what I'm saying is that this is something what to take away. As once in a while, just see, if you are deeply into this study and emptiness study, it's very good. If not, if you somehow, come to this and happen to be here, and so here, let's take away is, okay, it's interesting, the water is just what appears to my mind. Beyond that, there's nothing, there's water. If this much you get it, then say for example, don't forget this exercise also. So when you look at the other person with your naked eyes, you start smiling. When you think of the same person in your mind, you don't smile. You're getting it? Because you know, and the answer that we get is because that we know that what we're thinking is just coming from our mind. When you're aware it's coming from your mind, then your emotional control is happening. Emotional control is happening. Whereas when you see that it's from the object, when you look at the other person, you see it as object real. So there, emotional imbalance starts. Instantly the emotional stirs happen. Involuntarily you smile. All these things happen. You're getting it? Whereas the moment you see this all coming from a mind, then the balance, you're able to have the balance. So now it's a matter of the habituation. So if this is something you can take away, it's so precious. In fact, people study for years and years and years to get that experience. And we are very lucky that we are getting it here in just 2 days. Okay, so this, if you can take away as a takeaway, that would be very precious. Okay, so with this, now we have to read the text.
We're not talking about the four essentials?
Yeah, the four essentials. Yes, four essentials. Very quick. What are the four essentials? First of all, your job. Identify the object of negation. Essential of identifying the object of negation. Number 2. Essential understanding the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts. Then, essential understanding the emptiness of the objects being different from its parts. Number 4. Essential understanding of the pervasion, that anything which is empty of being one with and different from its parts entails the emptiness of objective existence of the object. Okay, 4 essentials. And then the conclusion. Therefore, the emptiness, the object, whatever, the self, the mind, or the tension, or happiness, whatever, therefore the object is empty of objective existence. This is the conclusion. You getting it? Okay. So first we will read through the text a little bit, and then we'll get to this. Okay, where are we? The page, stanza 26. Page number?
56.
Page 56, stanza 26. Impermanent, suffering, and empty. These three, they purify the mind. The Dharma, unparalleled and purify the mind, is the emptiness of intrinsic nature. Okay, to really understand this, we have to understand four essentials. We cannot leave it. Okay. Okay, so let's put it like this. Say okay, now it's pretty easy for us because we have already we have the ground. That is, say the water. When you look it through your naked eyes, that analysis is known as conventional analysis. So when the same water, when you look at through electron microscope, that is analysis known as
Conventional.
okay. that electron through which you see the emptiness of the water is known as ultimate analysis. So we have the two analyses. You're getting at the same object looked at through two different analysis. Conventional analysis, you find the conventional truth of the object. Through the ultimate analysis, you see the ultimate truth of the object. Okay. Now say with the conventional analysis, what do you find? Hey, water. So that is conventional analysis. Now we are talking about here. They say the what? The impermanent, suffering, empty, and the four essentials. Essential number 2 and essential number 3. Essential number 2 is emptiness, understanding the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts. Okay, even the word, the sentence structure is very long, right? Very difficult. Okay, but the concept is very easy. How? Okay, when you look at through electron microscope, then what happens to the water?
Disappear.
Oh, that's easy, right? Water disappears. Now, when the water disappears, what do you see? You see the atoms left there. Atoms, or the electrons, protons. Let's say atoms. You see the atoms left there. Do you agree with me? Good. Atoms are left there. Now, atoms are the parts of the water. You agree with me or not?
Yes.
Okay. So the water, is it one with the parts? These atoms? Meaning, these atoms, are they the water? No. When you say no, okay, this is very important. When you say the atoms, which are the parts of the water, when you say the parts, atoms are not the water, when you know that, you are saying that the atoms and the water, these two are not one. When you know that, you know the emptiness of the object, which is the water, being one with its parts. You know that. How many of you know that when you go into the atoms, well, none of the atoms are water? How many of you know that? If you know that, if you're sure that atoms are not water, guaranteed. If this is what you know, then you have understood the second essential. That is, the object object is empty of being one with its parts, which means object is not one with its parts. What are the parts? Atoms. So what do you mean by object is not one with the parts? The parts are not the object. Parts are not the water. You're getting it? If you know this is the meaning of the say the object not being one with its parts. Object being empty of one with its parts. Then if the parts are not the water, remove the parts. What is left there? Nothing is left there. Different from the parts, there's no water. There's no water which is different from the parts also. So it is not different from the parts, meaning it is empty of being different from these parts. How many of you know that when the atoms are removed, then the water is not there? How many of you know that? If you know that, you've understood the third essential, even though you don't know what it is. What is the third essential? I don't know. Don't worry, you've all understood it. If you know that, the water is not different from the parts. Keeping aside the parts, removing the atoms, if there is water which is different from the atoms left there, nothing is left there. If you know this, you have understood the third essential. That is, that the whole is not different from its parts. The water is not different from its parts. You getting it? Okay. Now, of the two, what is the third seal? all phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. You getting it? Okay, what is third seal? Okay, each one of us we're going to say one by one. Ready? Okay, Leorella.
All phenomena empty of
All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay, Zipila. Nature of emptiness and selflessness. Very good. Okay. Shahala. Are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Very good. Okay, ready. Okay. Okay, I know that now look, you're all very alert. You know that already. Okay. Very good. So all phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. There are two parts. You're getting it? Emptiness and selflessness. And generally, you know about emptiness and selflessness. These two words are used like synonymous, but here they're used separately. Why? So the water is not one with the parts. This is selflessness. Water is not different from the parts. This is emptiness in this context. You're getting it? You're getting it? Third seal, which says everything. What is third seal? Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay. Isigla, what is the third seal? The nature of. Very good. Okay. Okay. Now I may pinpoint to anybody, right? Okay. So everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. So there, emptiness and usual emptiness, there's a stark difference. That emptiness is not emptiness. It's a very gross. We talk about emptiness in general, that is very subtle. Whereas the third seal, emptiness in the third seal, selflessness in the third seal is very gross. Very gross. You're getting it? Very gross. Say, we see that water is not one with the parts and water is not different from its parts. There are two things. You are getting it? So therefore the conclusion is water does not exist from the object. This is the conclusion. Water is empty of objective existence. This is the conclusion. Before the conclusion, which comes first? Conclusion first or the two parts first? The two parts. Not one with the parts, not different from parts. These two should come first, only then the conclusion will come. You're getting it? So the conclusion is the emptiness that we talk about. Emptiness, which is the popular one, the subtle emptiness. The conclusion, that is the conclusion. Subtle emptiness is conclusion. Conclusion is this subtle emptiness. Whereas the emptiness that we talk about, emptiness, selflessness, in the sense of the third seal. What is the third seal? All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and self. This emptiness is a gross emptiness. This selflessness is a gross selflessness. What is the emptiness? What is selflessness? Say, in order to understand the emptiness of this water, the thesis, the main conclusion, emptiness of this water, we have to first know the two easier things. That the water, if you go closer to this object, there is no objective water. That the water does not exist from the object. To see whether it exists from the object or not, we have to first go to its object. If you see me in water, and you want to check if you are 1 kilometer away from me, and you want to check whether I'm really in water or whether you are seeing mirage. So from 1 kilometer away, you are seeing me in water. So how will you evaluate whether I am in water or I'm not in water? How will you evaluate? Okay, come closer to us from where the water is appearing. From where the water is appearing, you come closer. Coming closer, if you see that it's totally dry, there's nothing but there, then what will you conclude? What I earlier saw was just coming from my mind is a mirage. It's not the real water. You getting it? Okay, this is very important. Likewise, if the water exists objectively, here, this water, if it exists objectively, how do we evaluate this? We go closer towards the object. We go closer to the object. Okay, going closer to the object is ultimate analysis or conventional analysis? Ultimate analysis, going closer to the object. Conventional, stay away. With the naked eye, stay. Right? Stay away. Don't go too close to the object. Okay. How many of you have seen forest? Yes. Okay. You see forest from inside the forest or outside the forest? Oh. From the inside you will see the individual trees. You will not see the forest. Forest, you want to enjoy forest, you have to see, look at from distance. Likewise, if you want to see the water, look from distance with the naked eyes, not with the electron microscope. If you use electron microscope, you're going too close to object. Going too close to object, then if the object, to evaluate whether the object, this water, exists objectively or not, what should we do? Okay, to evaluate if the water that we are seeing exists objectively or not, how can we evaluate that? Huh? Come closer, go closer to the object. Go closer towards where? Towards the subject or towards the object? Because you think that it exists objectively, so you have to go to the object. If you say it exists subjectively, then you have to go to the subject. So when you say that it exists objectively, then to see whether it is true, you have to go closer to the object. Going closer to the object, your naked eyes goes closer to the object, or the electron microscope goes closer to the object? Electron microscope. So therefore, conventional analysis goes closer to the object, or the ultimate analysis goes closer to the object. Ultimate analysis. Use the ultimate analysis to go closer to the object. Using the ultimate analysis to go closer to the object, what will you see? You see a bunch of atoms. Right? Bunch of atoms. So these bunch of atoms, are they the water? No. Okay. So the water is not one with its parts. You know this? The water is not one with its parts, meaning the atoms are not the water. Parts are not the whole. If you know this, you know that the whole is empty of being one with the parts. Technically, we say that it is empty of being one with the parts. Actually, what does it mean? It means that the parts are not the whole. The atoms are not the water. You get it? If you know this, you know the second essential. Now, what is it? Okay, this one. Knowing that the water is not one with the parts, or the parts, the atoms are not the water. If you know this, this is what is known as the selflessness in the context of the third seal. Okay, I know that some of you have questions. What? Earlier he said that seeing the atoms is not ultimate analysis. Now he's saying ultimate analysis. I know you have these questions. Forget about this for the time being, because you're not going to focus on what I'm saying now. Right? Okay, so what we focus on now is that we see just atoms. So we know that a mind is the water is not one with atoms. Atoms are not the water. You get it? Hey, atoms are water not?
Yes.
Okay, atoms are not the water. If you know that the atoms are not the water, this is the meaning of the second essential. What is the second essential? That the object is not one with its parts. The object is empty of being one with its parts. This is the meaning as simple as that. Okay, so this in the third seal. Third seal, what is third seal? Everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. So selflessness, this meaning that the object is not one with its parts, is the meaning of the selflessness in the context of the third seal. You're getting it? Say, knowing that the water is not one with its parts is the understanding of selflessness or the emptiness? Selflessness in the context of third seal. Very good. Now, okay, if the atoms are not the water, remove the atoms. They may be the water different from the atoms. Remove the atoms. What is left? Nothing is left there. So the water is not different from the atoms also. How will you know this? If you know this, you have understood the third seal. You've understood third seal. So this understanding that the water is not different from the parts, different from the atoms. This is the concept of emptiness in the context of third seal. Right? Okay, so this emptiness in the third seal, emptiness, and the emptiness in general, there is a stark difference in subtlety. Emptiness in general is very subtle, whereas emptiness in the context of the third seal is very gross. You getting it?
General thinking, you can say about something that is either identical or different.
Yes.
Now we're saying that it's neither this, neither that. So
Yes.
that's the way to understand emptiness. That you start from the beginning saying anything should be identical to something else or different. Now you're saying it's not that.
Oh dear, when did I say that?
No, In my mind, I think. If I choose something, it could be idea